ever do something that rationally would make sense, but internally would feel wrong or at least not that right to you, to only be proven right at the end of the day and telling to yourself, feeling frustrated with yourself and feeling like, God, like I should have listened to my guts. Our gut is our second brain. It really, really helps in the decision making in any area of our lives. Public speaker Lisa Nichols even say that our intuition is our internal GPS. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how to activate our intuition rather than our inner critic to navigate the ebbs and flows of our lives. So let's go. Welcome to Conscious Matters. I'm Melissa. On this channel, I talk about conscious living through empowerment and holistic wellness, especially mindfulness. I made a whole video about self-doubt because at the end of the day, we're never truly and fully free from it, but we can choose to not let it rule our lives. And that's where intuition comes super handy, where tapping and utilizing our intuition is truly a game changer. Intuition is actually what leads us to make the best decisions individually, to move through life in a way that feels true to our heart. In the past, when I was taking decisions, I always wanted to follow my intuition, but at the same time, I didn't know if it was my intuition or if it was my self-doubt. I couldn't make a clear, distinct difference between self-doubt and intuition. Is it self-doubt? My anxiety getting louder, or trying to talk myself into being more rational when it's actually not what I'm supposed to do, but to convince yourself of something? Or is it actually my intuition telling me? I had a hard time clearly differentiating both. Eventually, with time, after learning to tune into myself, trusting myself, and prioritizing my well-being, now when my intuition guides me, I know it. I know. It just feels natural. It's like this deep inner knowing that takes over you. You know that's right. You know it's the way to go. Whereas with self-doubt, it usually leaves you unsure, questioning, having that back and forth within yourself. So let's see how to tap into our intuition to live in full alignment with our higher self. It's not factual, logical, or even rational information you get with your intuition. It's more like cues, I would say, that can show up as visions, sounds, ideas, sensations, signs, pretty much abstract thoughts, to be honest, that feel like epiphanies sometimes, and other times there's this quiet whisper that you really have to focus on to be able to hear. As I was saying before, that inner knowing, this subtle information that you get, but being tapped in enough, aligned enough, or self-aware enough to be able to notice the nuances and subtleties and patterns that your intuition is giving you, saying hey, it's not that way, it's this way, or vice versa, it's not this way, go back to where you were. So let's take an example to see how your intuition can manifest in certain situations. Let's say that you're trying to find an answer to something you've been questioning yourself about, or you just don't know what is your next step. So you're walking down the street, but instead of taking your normal route, you will feel internally you need to go take that random street that you never went through or been on. That day you feel you want to go that way, so you go there. You suddenly find a bookstore, and you're not a fan of a bookstore. It's not you were even trying to get into a bookstore, but weirdly you feel you know what, let's get in. And then going through the bookstore, you suddenly find a book that catches your attention. You go through it rapidly, and you see the exact answer to what you were looking for, the kind of information that you needed for your issue, or to help you take that next step. Or you're not finding the information, but you read something that gives you a food for thought, and now your reflections helps you to get closer to your solution. Or it doesn't even have to be the book. It can just be like on your way out. If you bought something or didn't buy something, the cashier tells you something, and that gives you, I don't know, an epiphany or a food for thought or just a reflection, the outlook of the way that you were looking at your issue like shifted just because of that quick interaction. Intuition is that subtle information that leads you in a way that is right for you. It's not like you start hearing creepy voices and like you starting going like fully cuckoo, but it's as if it triggers some knowledge or information that was already inside of you, out of you. Like you don't know why you know, but you know. It's like having a hunch. But then you could be asking, what's the difference between a thought and intuition? What I'm feeling right now, is it intuition or is it wishful thinking? I'd say that usually a thought is more dense. So for example, let's say taking a decision on something. With the thought, we'll try to convince ourselves like, okay, I have this fact and that fact and that fact, and usually it's done like that, and my parents told me that, my friends told me that, what I see around me is that, so if I do it that way that has been proven by many people that it works, it's gonna work for me. With the thoughts, I think is where the should and must statements stemming from past experiences are kicking in as a statement to carve your future or to carve the future. Even though the thoughts that we have all day long are not all conscious, far from it, differentiating between a thought and intuition can be quite easy because the thought is more mental, logical, and like really stemming from our own vision of the world. Whereas intuitive cues are subtle, quiet, and not necessarily transcribable in words. Intuition is not something that we made or we can manipulate to fit what we want the outcome to be, but it's a reception of information through feelings, inspiration, and ideas. You know, that light bulb moment that doesn't follow what we think our plan should look like, and sometimes even like that piece of information that make us flip the board and go on a completely different plan. Intuition like really follows its own course. Oftentimes we say that intuition is a sixth sense. Is it a gift from above given to a very few special souls, you may ask? I think that everyone is blessed with intuition. Everyone is intuitive, but not everyone knows how to tap into the intuition. And even though a lot of people can, sometimes they don't even follow it. So it's either you're not able to tap it at the moment, or you tap into it but you decide to not follow it. So I don't think it's a question of do we have intuition or we don't have it. I think it's a non-question, like we all have it, but just like, well, how are you able to tap into it and how far are you able to tap into it? So let's see, how can we tap into our intuition? I think there are like three main elements. The first one, self-awareness. I always talk about self-awareness. For me, is like the beginning, the basis of everything. May it be inner growth, may it be tapping into your intuition, may it be overcoming your fears, like everything, the basis. I mean, to me, feel free to share like if you have another outlook on that. But the basis to me is self-awareness. If you're not self-aware, it's going to be trickier. Self-awareness to me is a blend of know yourself, know your triggers, know your limits. And I would even say like know your flaws and your shortcomings, as well as your strength. So maybe 5 things. So why is self-awareness like so important to be able to tap into your intuition? Is because when you know yourself better than anyone else, and you're sure about who you are, not saying that you're not gonna evolve or anything, but like right now at this present instant, knowing yourself like so thoroughly that it's easier to not listen or take people's projections, judgments, and lies about you as your truth or as your reality. It's so much easier to like brush them off your shoulder. It might annoy you to a certain extent because we humans, as I always say. But at the end of the day, you don't buy into the version of you that they painted that has nothing to do with you, because you know who you are, and you know your limits, and you know your flaws, and you know your strength, and you know your triggers. So nobody can define you but you. And why you won't buy into that? Because you know better. You know yourself. So it's much easier. It's so much easier to listen to your own inner knowing when you know yourself, when you have this self-awareness. And it will save you so much pain, so much headache, so much time also. And I think that's like the added benefits of it. Apart from that, when you will do things or say things or act a certain way that doesn't fully feel aligned, you will get these nagging feelings. And these nagging feelings, like, it's so important to listen to them because they're trying to say something to us. To listen to them, but also when the same thought keeps on resurfacing over and over again, it can ask us to X, Y, and Z, like depending on the situation. But this nagging feeling or this same thought repeating itself, all of that is like our intuition talking to us and pushes us to push the reflection a little bit further and to push it to the point where we find a solution, we find what feels more aligned. And in the same vein, I don't think it's like an additional element, so I will still like put it in the self-awareness little box. But I think listening to our body's cues and sensations is so key with intuition, because like just like I was saying at the beginning, intuition can be like, yeah, a thought, an idea, a light bulb moment, but it can also be communicated to us, or it can also communicate with us through sensations, like bodily sensations. Just like, it's so weird, but like when you meet someone, I think I talked about that here before, here on the podcast, like I can't remember, but when you meet someone and you have this weird vibe about them, like you don't feel like, you start to cross your arms, like you take distance or things like that, you don't feel like fully at ease. And then down the line you realize like this person was like, I don't know, didn't have so pure intentions towards you, or was like treating another person super badly, or anyways, you can add whatever you want to add, but it was like your body already responding to the situation. I think that's magical. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say here is not only be self-aware, but be emotionally aware. Listen to your body sensations and your body cues. Like, they can say so much. Do you feel off balance when something comes up in a discussion, or when you think about something very specific, or when you with a certain person? Try to take all of that in consideration. Our bodies carry so much wisdom. It's crazy. If you haven't read the book The Body Keeps the Score, go read it. You will have all of the extra information of what I'm talking about here. So self-awareness and emotional self-awareness as well, for me, is like this two-part first element. The second element to tap into your intuition will be to take some time alone every day to introspect. I think that helps with tapping with your intuition, but more developing your intuition. But that goes hand in hand, I guess. When I say every day, yes, I think it really helps in creating a habit of tapping into our intuition, but also to develop our intuition. And when I say every day, it doesn't need to be hours and hours and hours on end. It could just be like 5-10 minutes a day, or even 2 minutes, just to tune out the external and internal noise and just be with yourself, reconnect with yourself. It can just be like laying down on your bedroom floor, on your bed, in silence, just hearing yourself breathing, meditating, doing some yoga asanas, or doing a quick breathwork session with yourself. You know, this like very short and quick self-care daily practice that helps you to be with yourself, like to tune out the rest and like recenter, anchor yourself, and ground yourself. So your mind, body, and spirit are connected and balanced out. Meditation, journaling, prayer, whatever it looks like to you, these practices really help to clear your mind and sorting out your thoughts, like which one are from your ego, which one are from your fears, which one are from your past, and which one are actually the result of your inner knowing. But for that, you need to take that 5-10 minutes a day to be able to reconnect with yourself, to ground yourself, to anchor yourself, so you can tune out the noise, the external noise and internal noise, and ask yourself the right questions and be able to receive the answers. Because we tend to ask so much, but we never shush to be able to receive the answer, to be like in the state of receiving. And once again, it's about balance, like asking but receiving but also asking, like giving but also taking, and taking and also giving. And a third element to really tap into your intuition is to own your path. Like own your path. Once you know yourself and you connect it to your inner knowing, trust yourself. Trust yourself, trust your path, trust that the universe got your back. Own your truth and go for it. Your intuition might lead you in ways you never planned. I mean, I'm on YouTube. I was supposed to be a lawyer. I'm on YouTube talking about real life issues. So I've been trained as a legal practitioner, and I'm here talking about life concepts and things that feels true to me and important to me. And I'm very far from the legal field. So you never know. But I'm following my intuition. Your intuition might most probably lead you in ways you never planned or never thought of, but trust that it will never ever lead you astray, but only on the right path for you. It might not all be perfect, and it probably won't be, and the journey will be full of bumps and stops and obstacles. You might take detours when you're not listening to your intuition. But trust that your intuition will never lead you astray. Trust that it will always bring you back into your course. Be kind, compassionate, and patient with yourself throughout that whole learning process. You'll probably fall back onto your old habits, but you will get back on your feet and you will get there. Where you're supposed to arrive, your destination, you'll get there. Trust that. The more you tune in, the more you listen, and the more you follow your intuition, the more it will build itself. Like the more it will grow, it will be stronger, and it will be easier for you to know that little voice, like this is the one that leads me towards my truth. The more you practice it, the more you develop it, it will grow stronger, or at least it will get louder and you won't doubt it anymore. So I truly think that it gives us an advantage to be able to tap into our intuition. I mean, listening to it, tapping into our intuition, developing it and following it, super important, but I don't think it's the only thing. It has to be supported with some sort of structure. So support your intuition with the magical tool that is your brain. Yes, I know. You were not expecting that. Your brain is the magical tool. Build well thought out strategies to carry out the golden nuggets your intuition keeps on feeding you with, that your intuition has been whispering to you. Because just like the saying says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Intuition is great, but you still gotta plan it, you still have to strategize, you still have to be all hands on deck and like do the work. But it's a great tool though to have to be guided and embody our truth. So just don't only tap into your intuition, but also act on your intuition so it doesn't become wishful thinking or disillusion. Share in the comment section, how do you differentiate between your self-doubt chatter and your intuition? How do you tap into your intuition? And what tapping into your intuition like did for you, like did for your ideas, your project, your desires? How did tapping into your intuition helped? I hope this video was helpful and that you've learned a few things. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video so this channel can keep on spreading the word about conscious living through holistic wellness. As always, stay true, keep showing up for yourself, and let your soul lead the way.